Okay, we'll get started here. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Cindy Erickson, Tour Coordinator with WestWorldTours. I'll be facilitating the presentation this evening, and joining me to tell you all about the great sights you're going to see on this new tour of ours is our Senior Tour Director, Koral Hrominchuk, pardon me. Just about blurted out your maiden name there, Koral.
That's
Welcome,
okay.
Koral.
Carpenter Hrominchuk is just fine. Thanks, Cindy. Hello, everyone. Nice to have you joining us tonight. Thanks for being here with us.
All right, well, before I turn the presentation over to Koral, I just have a couple of items to discuss with you this evening. Number one is questions. We encourage you to ask questions at any time throughout the presentation. That being said, we do have everyone muted and ask that you please type your question into the Q&A box located on your screen. And if you've joined us on Facebook, please type your question into the comment section on Facebook. Again, we welcome your questions and we'll answer as many as we can at the end of our presentation. WestWorldTours is proud to have provided refunds in full to all of our passengers affected by a canceled tour due to COVID-19. After all, you should decide when and where to spend your money, not us. And having your travel plans canceled and not knowing when you would be able to travel again was really disheartening enough. And we know COVID-19 has changed today's world, but WestWorldTours remains committed to the well-being of our travelers and our team. We are doing all that we can to adapt to the new requirements and expectations and have enhanced our already robust health and safety protocols to keep everyone safe while traveling with us. We ask that you visit our website for the most up-to-date COVID-19 information and travel policies. Next is our lineup for our upcoming presentations. On November 24th at 7:00 p.m., it's our WestWorldTours in review. So we'll discuss our tours, our history, our tour directors. We're going to be joined by our director, Leanne, and along with other guests like Dean Smith, our Vice President of WestWorldTours, and our Senior Tour Director, Koral, will be joining us again that evening. And, you'll learn about everything WestWorldTours. Again, our history, we'll discuss our history, our tours. You'll get to discuss with our tour directors, what their roles are. And you'll travel around the world with us from Australia to Zimbabwe and so many places in between. So we really invite you to join us on November 24th at 7:00 p.m. And then we're going to take a little break until the new year, and we'll have some new exciting tours to display with you then at that time. And if you would like to receive invites to our future presentations, as well as timely information on those exciting new tours I just mentioned, we recommend that you sign up for our email newsletter. You won't be inundated with emails, and you can unsubscribe at any time. There may be a few more emails than normal right now as we keep everyone informed on our virtual presentations. And I'm going to launch a poll on your screen right away here and asking you to let us know if you would like to receive our email newsletter. So just bear with me while I get that set up here. And here we go. I'll give you all a chance to reply. Now, if you are already receiving our newsletter, please just let us know that as well. Again, if you are viewing us and joined on Facebook, unfortunately, that poll is not going to pop up on your screen, but you can type us a message into the comment section or send us a message actually, and send us your email address. We'll ensure that you get included. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Almost the majority of everybody joining us this evening are already receiving our email newsletter. Well, that's great. Thank you for participating in that. Well, let's move on here. As Western Canada's premier tour company, WestWorldTours has been serving Canadians from coast to coast with escorted travel throughout North America and around the world since 2000. We celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. We present quality components, including modern, comfortable coaches, professional tour directors, experienced, courteous drivers, baggage handling, and excellent accommodations. We take in all the important sites and attractions and include several meals throughout. Thousands of passengers have chosen our first-class style of touring, enjoying the great value, security, and stress-free environment, all while making along the way. We know our tour directors enjoy getting to know you while on tour and love to see familiar faces. And speaking of familiar faces, I'm going to launch another poll onto your screen. And we would like to know how many watching this evening have traveled with WestWorldTours before. Let's get that one launched here. There we go. I'll give you all a chance to respond to that. Again, anyone watching on Facebook, you can enter your responses into the comment section. I'll just give you all a little bit of time here to finish that. Okay, let's have a look here. It looks like we have about 55% watching us this evening have traveled with WestWorldTours, and about 45% have not yet traveled with WestWorldTours. So let me just close that off there. Thank you for that. So to those who have not traveled with us yet, welcome. We look forward to meeting you on board. And to those that have traveled with us, welcome back. We look forward to seeing your familiar face again. Now let's get to the new tour and to the Pacific Northwest, where you can discover the warm charm and stunning wilderness on this great summer getaway to the northwest corner of the United States. You'll explore pristine lakes, beautiful parks, and cities filled with vibrant food and culture. The Pacific Northwest is home to some spectacular sights, from the snow-capped peaks of Washington to the rugged coastline of Oregon. You'll find yourself captivated by the awe-inspiring scenery around every turn. So I'm pleased to introduce you to Koral Hrominchuk. Koral has been with WestWorldTours for over 20 years. Having traveled the globe extensively, she's set foot on all 7 continents, bringing to her role as senior tour director a wealth of knowledge and experience. Welcome, Koral.
Thank you so much, Cindy. It's a pleasure to be here with you all this evening.
Well, we're all excited to hear what you're going to share with us this evening about the Pacific Northwest. So let's get to it.
Fantastic. Well, I was, first of all, I should just say, everyone, Cindy mentioned my maiden name, of course. Many of you knew me as Koral Carpenter, so that's completely fine as well, too. I am Koral Hrominchuk now, but I'm sure there are some of you listening tonight that I've had the pleasure of traveling with for many years. And for those of you that I know who are with us tonight, welcome. And for those of you who haven't traveled with WestWorld before, a really special welcome to all of you as well. We're also really excited to be sharing a brand new tour with you this evening. And while Cindy was talking, I was just thinking about that a little bit. You know, we certainly have some travelers that are regulars with WestWorld too, that really like doing things right here in North America. We have these fantastic tours that we do internationally, but some people like to stay a little closer to home. And some people really like a motor coach tour. And I have to confess, as much as I love our cruise tours and our overseas tours, I too, as a tour director for more than 20 years now, I actually love a good motor coach tour. I really do. I find that on our motor coach tours, it really gives us a chance to really get to know each other, all of our travelers and, you know, us as tour directors as well. We really have a chance to bond with you. And so that's a nice thing about a tour that is basically exclusively motor coach. What you're looking at in front of you here on this first screen, everyone, is a map of our brand new tour. And of course, tours that we've done many, many times with WestWorld, it's nice that we have that familiarity. You know, we know exactly or almost exactly what everything's going to look like, what it's going to feel like when we get there. But it's really exciting to have something brand new. And that's what our Pacific Northwest tour is that we're sharing with you tonight. It's an early summer tour. The timing is going to be wonderful, you know, late June into early July. As Cindy was saying, you know, some fantastic scenery, some fascinating cities, and just some really beautiful scenery as well. The snow-capped mountains of Washington State and the rugged coastline of Oregon State. So looking at this map here, everyone, you can see that we're starting in Saskatoon, heading down to Regina, heading west over to Lethbridge, and then we're going to be making our way across the border into the US. But first, we're going to have a chance, as we'll talk about shortly, to enjoy Waterton Lakes National Park, and then making our way down to Leavenworth, Washington, and then on to a town called Bonners Ferry. Tell you a little bit about the history about that shortly. Making our way to Seattle and Olympia. Your map here doesn't point it out exactly, but you see a little jog that goes right off to the coast in Oregon. So we're going to be stopping in Astoria, making our way down to Portland, and then from Washington and Oregon, making our way down into another beautiful state. Idaho is actually a really lovely state. So through Boise and Idaho Falls. And then before we head back up home, a really great stop as well. We're stopping in Wyoming at Yellowstone. So going to see Old Faithful in Yellowstone, and then finally making our way up through the beautiful scenery of the state of Montana, big sky country. It's a really lovely state. And then finally back up to Lethbridge, we complete our loop. So yeah, it's a brand new tour for us. We're super excited, and it looks like a great itinerary and a great routing as well. This screen here that Cindy has up for us shows us some of the highlights of our brand new tour. As I was mentioning, Waterton Lakes National Park. We do a fantastic boat cruise, botanical gardens, Leavenworth. We do a city tour of Seattle, of course, the famous Space Needle. I won't go through everything one by one, but you can see in front of you some of the highlights of the tour here. And then, as I was saying, making our way from Washington down into Oregon, stopping in Portland and Astoria as well. Beautiful scenery of the Columbia River Gorge, and then finally through Craters of the Moon in Idaho and back up through Montana again. So the slide that you see in front of you now is basically our first slide showing you some of the scenic attractions that we're going to see. And I suppose it really can't be said enough tonight that one of the things that this tour is going to be really great for is just fantastic scenery. So as I was saying, the snow-capped mountains of Washington State and the rugged coastline of Oregon as well. So a lot of culture to take in, but certainly a lot of beautiful scenery. So it's really going to be a fantastic late spring, early summer tour. And what you're looking at here, everyone, if you look over to the top right-hand corner of your screen, that is Prince of Wales Hotel. So that's the famous Grand Railway Hotel at Waterton Lakes National Park. It is the only one of those grand Pacific Railway hotels to be built by an American company, actually. So that's kind of one of the famous scenes in Waterton Lakes National Park. The Prince of Wales Hotel was designated a historic site back in 1992. And so Waterton Lakes National Park, of course, is on the border. It's on the Canadian side in Alberta, but it borders Glacier National Park in Montana. That national park formed in 1895. So the southwest corner of Alberta is where we're headed to. First of all, we are going to have a fantastic boat cruise in Waterton Lakes as well. So you see a slide there of our boat cruise in the top left-hand corner. We'll actually be crossing the border into the U.S. by our ferry boat. By the way, Waterton Lakes National Park contains 195 square miles of wilderness and scenic beauty. And then in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you're looking at a little town called Bonner's Ferry. And Bonner's Ferry is located on the Washington side of the border. The story goes back to when gold was first discovered in the East Kootenays of British Columbia. That was back in 1863, and at that time, thousands of prospectors began making their way over what was called the Wild Horse Trail. Well, a gentleman by the name of Edwin Bonner, he was a merchant from Walla Walla, Washington. He established a ferry, so hence the name Bonner's Ferry. The ferry was established back in 1864, where that Wild Horse Trail crossed over the Kootenay River. Other people would come and go through the area, but the name would always retain that original pioneer, Edwin Bonner, and so hence Bonner's Ferry. And we'll actually spend a little bit of time and overnight in Bonner's Ferry, Washington. Moving on here, everyone, we'll be making our way to Spokane, Washington, and we have some really fun things we're going to be sharing with you in Washington, including a really lovely botanical garden. If you have a look, first of all, on the lower left-hand corner of your screen, this is Monito Botanical Gardens in Spokane, Washington. One thing I think is going to be pretty fantastic about the botanical gardens is it's known for its lilac gardens. In fact, Spokane is known as the Lilac City. I have to admit, lilacs have always been one of my personal favorite flowers, but there are 5 major gardens inside the Monito Botanical Gardens. It's actually recognized for its diverse horticultural displays. So besides the botanical gardens, there is a traditional Japanese garden, a rose garden, a dahlia test garden, and also a conservatory and a European symmetrical garden as well. So you have the various gardens at Monito Botanical Gardens. Again, that's in Spokane that we'll have a chance to visit that. We will be spending some time in Leavenworth, Washington, and that's what we're looking at here. You can see some of that lovely architecture, both the top left and the top right-hand corner of your screen as well. It's a Bavarian style town, and again, beautiful mountain scenery. In the center screen, you can see just a little bit of a shot of the Cascade Range of mountains that overlook Leavenworth. So the town is known for its Alpine style buildings, and you might enjoy the German beer and food that's served down on Front Street. So very much a German kind of Bavarian theme in Leavenworth, Washington. The town is also known at Christmas time for its magical displays of Christmas lights as well. You'll have a bit of time on our tour to explore pretty Leavenworth on your own, and it is also, just out of interest sake, a gateway to nearby ski areas and local wineries as well too. And not only that, the park in Leavenworth, for those of you who are interested in wildlife, it's actually quite known for eagles and ospreys that pass through the area. But Leavenworth is known for something else that's rather interesting, and something else that you'll have a bit of time to explore on your own if you wish to, is the Nutcracker Museum of Leavenworth. And there's just a small shot on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen where you're looking at the famous Nutcracker Museum of Leavenworth. It displays thousands of nutcrackers, some of them actually dating back centuries. Over 7,000 nutcrackers as of last count, that was in 2020, founded by a lady named Arlene Wagner. Well, I'm sure some of you listening tonight have enjoyed the Nutcracker Ballet over the years. I know I have as well too. The lady who started the Nutcracker Museum, Arlene Wagner, was a ballerina. She studied under a ballerina named Alexandra Danilova. She became a ballet instructor and taught various productions of the Nutcracker, but she became quite infatuated with nutcrackers and spent most of her life, or I guess continues to do so, collecting nutcrackers from around the world. So about 7,000 nutcrackers in the Nutcracker Museum of Leavenworth, Washington. So just one more thing that you'll have a chance to take in during our stay in Leavenworth. And as we carry on to just one final thing in the Leavenworth area, the reindeer farm. So yeah, that's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We'll have a chance to stop by this family-run farm. It's actually in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains near Leavenworth, and learn more about reindeer. So yeah, and then making our way into the city of Seattle. Well, top left-hand corner of your screen, that is certainly an iconic landmark of Washington State and of Seattle as well. So you're looking at the Seattle Space Needle in that shot on the top left-hand corner. And it is Seattle's only 360-degree indoor and outdoor panoramic display of the downtown, looking over to Mount Rainier, right across to Puget Sound, both the Cascade and Olympic Mountains as well too. They have an open air viewing area up at 520 feet. And it really is an icon, as I was saying, both of Washington State and of the city of Seattle as well too. Something else that the city of Seattle is known for. Seattle is actually known for a few things, most definitely, including the coffee culture in Seattle. Famous, you might know this, Starbucks actually got its start out of Seattle. But certainly one thing that the city is famous for is Pike's Place Market. And you can see that both in the top right-hand corner and bottom right-hand corner as well too. The market is known for its fishmongers, where traditionally the folks who work in the market actually hurl the fish to the patrons who are buying fish in the market. So I was reading some really interesting things about Pike's Place Market, that every morning they meet, they do exercises and stretches. They actually have to prepare themselves for the physicality of literally throwing fish across Pike's Place Market every day. So a lot of fun visiting Pike's Place Market. But not only does it have its famous fishmongers hurling fish around the market, it's known for its fresh produce stands, arcades, restaurants, family-owned local restaurants too, collectible shops, antique dealers, and so much more as well. So that's going to be a fun thing that we'll definitely have a chance to visit. Seattle is the largest city, both in Washington State and also in the Pacific Northwest area of the U.S. in general too. Known for the scenic beauty around the city too, with its evergreen forests and lofty mountain peaks too. Known for some, kind of random things too. Grunge music came out of Seattle. As I was saying, the coffee culture is famous in Seattle too. The Seattle Seahawks, for the sports enthusiasts listening tonight, most definitely, and its outdoor lifestyle as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun in Seattle, and WestWorld's really excited about finally doing Seattle as a tour destination. So there we go, a little look at Pike's Place and this Seattle Space Needle for you all. This is going to be a lot of fun too, everybody. So moving on from there, we will have some time to go out to Blake Island from Seattle. You see the ferry up in the right-hand corner of the screen, pardon me. This is the ferry that we're taking over to Blake Island. And Blake Island is a 475-acre island in Puget Sound. And while we're there, we're going to have a chance to visit Tillicum Village. And that's what you're looking at in most of the shots that are showing up on your screen right now. So Tillicum Village is known as being a showcase for the Northwest Coast Native folk in their arts, their culture, their food, and their arts, culture, and food as well, pardon me. We're going to be having a cultural presentation while we're at Tillicum too. So that's what you're seeing in the center of the screen. So we'll learn more about the Native culture in this part of the U.S. as well too. And the park rather in Tillicum Village is only accessible by either private watercraft or tour boat, and actually has a variety of wildlife there as well. So we'll have a chance to see Blake Island of Washington and see Tillicum Village as well. So I think it's something that we'll all enjoy very much. Yeah, so very exciting to be doing a new tour. Yeah, so lots to look forward to. And we're looking, everyone, at the boardwalk in the top left-hand corner of your screen through the wildlife refuge. It's called Billy Frank Junior National Wildlife Refuge. It's known as a really great place for bird watching on the Nisqually River Delta in Puget Sound. So that's what we're looking at over on the left-hand side of the screen for our car enthusiasts who are going to be traveling with us on this tour. You're going to love this as well too. So you see a couple of shots there on the right hand side of your screen. It's called the LeMay Collection at Marymount, and what this was, everyone, was a former military academy, but it's home to the northwestern US's largest automobile collection. It's about 150 vehicles worth about $60 million. So that is the LeMay Collection that we'll be seeing. And then one more thing that we're going to have a chance to tour, which for our nature lovers in the crowd, you're going to enjoy this as well. It's called Tumwater Falls. That's what you're looking at in the center on the right-hand side of the screen. Tumwater Falls, we're actually going to have a chance, if you wish to do a half-mile long scenic loop where you can walk along the Deschutes River and enjoy the 3 cascading waterfalls along the walkway. So I really think this new tour is going to have a little bit of something for everyone. But I certainly think that for those of you who enjoy scenic beauty and nature, I really think you're going to love it as well too. Moving on to the the next slide, everyone. What we're looking at here, have a look there in the center of your screen. That's called the column of Astoria. So this is where we will have a chance to actually go right out to the coast. So Astoria is kind of a little jog that we're going to make out to the coast in Oregon. The column of Astoria overlooks the Columbia River on Foxcomb Hill, built back in 1926. The column is 125 feet tall and has 164 step spiral staircase going up to the observation deck at the top. You can see that on your screen. So that might be something that that certainly may be of interest for some of you to do. We're looking on the top right-hand corner too of a picture of a lovely Portland, Oregon as well. And Portland has an iconic landmark, lovely Mount Hood, that serves as a backdrop for the city. So you're looking at Portland there with Mount Hood in the background. And we're also having a look at this screen at the Columbia River Maritime Museum and Floating Lighthouse. So this is something else we'll have a chance to see. Actually, I really think this is going to be really interesting. Guests that visit this museum can actually watch a video presentation of the northwestern US powerful storms. Excuse me, but they have a fantastic collection of watercraft, full-size watercraft models as well, mariner gear, weapons, mariner weapons to instruments, and so on. So we will have a chance to tour the Columbia River Maritime Museum and enjoy our stay in Portland, Oregon. So Portland, by the way, while we have it up on the screen here, just a few fun facts for you. It is the most populated city in the state of Oregon, with, by the way, a population of around 652,000, just out of interest's sake. But about 2.5 million people live in the Oregon metropolitan area. And interestingly enough, that makes about 47% rather, of Oregonians live in the Portland metropolitan area. Portland's history definitely goes back to its timber trade and also to transportation by water as well too. So with its easy water access, timber trade, and today Portland is known for some other features as well. And I believe we're going to get onto that in the next slide, Cindy. Yeah, so Portland has a fantastic market as well too. We think of that Pike Place market in Seattle just because it's so famous, but Portland is actually known for their Saturday market, and I think that's going to be a relaxing, fun thing, most definitely, that we'll have a chance to take in on the tour. So the Saturday market is known for its atmosphere of being like an art show and a live street concert and open air bazaar are. Speaking of artwork, you can see the building on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, showing some of Portland's artwork as well too, and also known for the bridges throughout the city. So we'll have a chance to enjoy Portland. Looking everyone at the top left-hand corner of the screen, we're looking at the Rose Test Garden, and Portland is known for its roses as well too. So the area that consists of the Rose Test Garden in Portland features approximately somewhere around 10,000 roses. It's the oldest continuously operated rose test garden in the United States. And this is kind of an interesting story about how it came to be. It was a safe haven for hybrid roses grown in Europe during World War I. So that's how the Rose Test Garden actually began. But Portland is known as the City of Roses, with Mount Hood serving as a lovely backdrop. And talking about the bridges, as I was saying, the center of your screen and the bottom left-hand side as well too. There's 12 bridges within Portland, and not only that, there's 3 more bridges that connect Portland over to Washington State. So 15 bridges basically inside Portland. So it's known for its bridges. It's also known for its many bike paths, microbreweries, similar to Seattle. It's known for its coffee houses as well too. And yeah, really great city. So we'll have a chance to spend a little bit of time, everyone, in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, forgive me, Cindy. I just realized I forgot to mention in the lower left-hand corner there too, you're also seeing the, sorry about that, the Portland Spirit Dinner Cruise. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it because I think that's going to be a really fun attraction that we'll be doing while we're staying in Portland too. It's a 2.5-hour dinner cruise, by the way. So we'll have a lovely dinner and a fantastic cruise where we can enjoy the Portland city skyline at night. And it's a narrated cruise where we'll have a chance to see some of the city's landmarks from a water perspective. So definitely wanted to mention that as well. That's what we're looking at in the lower left-hand corner. Moving on, everyone. If you have a look there in the top left-hand corner of your screen, this is our stop at Vista House. And what Vista House is, it is a museum overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. So have a look at all the shots on this screen. You're seeing the spectacular scenery of beautiful Oregon in the US and the area known as the Columbia River Gorge as well. So yeah, like I say, some really spectacular scenery that we're seeing on the right-hand side, the lower left-hand side as well. The iconic landmark Mount Hood. Vista House in the top left-hand corner, I think will be a fun stop for us as well too. It's actually a museum and it served as a memorial to the Oregon pioneers, and it was a stopping place for travelers on the Columbia River Highway. It's situated on a rocky promontory above the river, 733 feet above the Columbia River Gorge. And that's a great picture of it in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. So there it is, Vista House, sitting on that 733-foot high rocky promontory looking out over the Columbia River Gorge. So really fantastic scenery. Not only that, some interesting architecture as well too. We're looking at that octagonal shape of the Vista House in our top left-hand corner there. It's shaped like an octagon in an Art Nouveau style, and it was completed back in 1918. And then one final thing, everyone, we're looking at in the center of the screen is beautiful Multnomah Falls. So we'll have a chance to stop at Multnomah Falls in Oregon. It's 611 feet tall and known as an awe-inspiring icy cascade of water. So yeah, this area known for the beautiful scenery of the Columbia River Gorge, the many waterfalls, including the very impressive Multnomah Falls. And then that is actually a really nice picture that Cindy has up for us on the bottom left-hand corner, once again, of iconic Mount Hood. Mount Hood, by the way, is actually 50 miles from the city of Portland, although it very much does serve as a backdrop for the city as well, too. So it is a potentially active, is what they call it, a potentially active stratovolcano. It last erupted beginning on September 21st, 1865, finished in January of 1866. So that's the last time it erupted, and it is a potentially active volcano. And it sits at an elevation of 11,249 feet, and that makes it the highest mountain in the beautiful state of Oregon. Moving on, everyone, as we come closer towards the end of our tour, this is a really lovely area. And some of you who've traveled with us with WestWorld before, you may recognize this area because this is actually an area we have traveled through before when we've passed through the state of Idaho on various motor coach tours. Idaho is actually a really lovely state, and we passed through a really interesting area called Crater of the Moon. And interestingly enough, and some of you might be familiar with this area, if you are, it's an interesting thing that the Apollo crew back in 1969 made a point of visiting the craters of the moon just to see the similarities that they believed they would find when they were visiting the moon. But it is a national preserved area in the US and in the state of Idaho. It's in what they call the Snake River Preserve. The Snake River flows through this area. It shows really interesting examples of basaltic lava, things like lava tubes. If you've been to Hawaii, you may have seen the lava tubes there. Tree molds as well. So it's a pretty fascinating area. And it also encompasses a very large area, this Craters of the Moon, too. 53,545 acres all told. And really what it is, it's a vast ocean of lava flows with scattered islands of cinder cones and sagebrush as well. So we'll do a little bit of sightseeing in Craters of the Moon. So I love tours like this where you don't just go to a destination and then you'd have to drive all the way home. I love it when there's fun things to see along the way, pretty well right up until the time you get back home again. And I know I'm not the only one tonight who is here that loves a good motor coach tour. And yeah, we have some nice boat cruises to look forward to, but a lot of this tour is by motor coach. So it's a really nice time for bonding on the bus as well too. And then this is going to be really fantastic, everyone. We're going to have a chance to stop in Wyoming as well too. And certainly when you think of Yellowstone National Park, excuse me, I think the name Yellowstone National Park is almost synonymous with Old Faithful. And that's what we're looking at in the top left-hand corner of our screen. That is Old Faithful. Well, I've seen it a few times in my life before, and it certainly has changed a little bit over the years. But even now, still, Old Faithful is still Old Faithful, and it consistently erupts basically somewhere between every 60 to 90 minutes. Old Faithful still goes off, erupting anywhere from about 106 to even as much as 185 feet in the air. It was discovered, or quote unquote, I guess you could say discovered, back in 1870. And since that time, since it was discovered in 1870, more than 1 million eruptions have been recorded. Yellowstone became a park in 1872. And that makes it the oldest national park in the continental United States. But so yeah, it's a geyser, of course, Old Faithful. It's actually called a cone geyser. So as I say, Yellowstone National Park was the first national park that was established in the United States, and it was signed into proclamation by Ulysses S. Grant, and that was on March 1st, 1872, when Yellowstone first became a national park. Of course, it's known for its geothermal features, and it's also known for its wildlife too. Looking at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that is really fantastically beautiful, and it's actually called Morning Glory Pool. Those incredible colors. It resembles a morning glory flower, and that's where the name Morning Glory Pool comes from. The color is due to the bacteria in the pool. Unfortunately, though, it is now being nicknamed Faded Glory Pool, which is really a bit of a shame. And it's just a testament to the fact that there has been vandalism, people throwing things into Morning Glory Pool, which has caused it to change and basically clogged up that natural pool. But it has, on rare occasions, erupted as a geyser as well, although Morning Glory Pool isn't traditionally a geyser the way that that Old Faithful is. And then one more thing, everyone, we're looking at some spectacular mountain scenery in the center of the screen, and the park sign for the Grand Tetons on the lower left-hand side. So beautiful Grand Teton National Park will be just a little bit more of the scenic beauty that we're going to be enjoying. And Grand Teton National Park, established back in 1929, known for not only its wildlife, but also, as you can see here, very much its spectacular mountain scenery. It's actually really close to Yellowstone National Park. There's only 10 miles that separate Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. So a really beautiful area of the US. And I think it's going to be just a fantastic late spring, early summer trip. And on that note, everyone, we are making our way home now at this point. Montana is a beautiful state, and those of you who've had the pleasure of driving through Montana can certainly attest to that. So just really fantastic, you know, mountains and just beautiful. So you're looking at a couple shots of Montana scenery, known as Big Sky Country, the top two pictures there on your screen. And speaking of Big Sky Country, of course, our Canadian prairies as well, very much so. So we're going to have a lovely drive coming back up through Alberta, back up through Lethbridge, and then finally back up into Saskatchewan as well. So Cindy has here for us just a couple of really lovely pastoral scenes, pretty much just exactly how we picture the prairies early in the summer. So late June, early July tour with so much scenery, some really fascinating culture, the cities, so much to learn and enjoy, and it's going to be a fantastic new tour. We're really excited tonight, everyone, to be talking about a brand new tour, and so pleased to have you joining us tonight. So on that note, I'll turn it back over to Cindy.
Thanks so much, Coral. That was excellent. What a beautiful region of the US. And I haven't had a chance myself to get out to Oregon or Washington yet. Obviously, it's on my bucket list. And I'm really looking forward to our new tour here and making it available to everybody, a new exciting area for our clientele to explore. So at this point, you know, thank you so much again, Coral, for joining us this evening. We're going to turn it over now, and we'll answer some questions that we might have here. And so I'm just going to, again, if you do have any questions, now is the chance to type them into that Q&A box on your screen, and then we can answer as many as we possibly can. Now it asked, Christine has asked a question, because you're heading through Medicine Hat, is it possible for clients to join this tour there? Yes, absolutely. If we're going through Medicine Hat, that is definitely a pickup spot for us en route, and you're more than happy to join the tour in Medicine Hat for sure. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Not sure if we have any more questions coming our way. Let me have a quick look here.
I think I saw another one there, Cindy.
Yeah, it says, what a beautiful tour from Valinda. Where do you drop down into the USA? Through BC, Creston, or Cranbrook? Actually, we go across right after we depart Waterton Lakes National Park. We travel right across there into Bonner's Ferry in Idaho. So that's where we would cross into. Now, I'm not sure if it would be in Creston or Cranbrook. Coral, would you have a better idea on that? So let me have a quick.
Yeah, we're actually crossing over by water, I believe. Hey, and,
Yeah, by Waterton. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we do have some more questions here, so let's just move on there. Joanne is asking, can we see any of your previous shows? Example, Costa Rica. By all means, Joanne, yes, we have a video library on our website at WestWorldTours.com. All of our presentations have been recorded and are available for viewing at your leisure. By all means, check it out. Thank you for asking the question, Joanne. Anonymous has asked, do we have to go to the Space Needle in Seattle? Good question. No, you don't have to go to the Space Needle. If it's something that you choose not to attend, then you just need to make sure your tour director is advised. And so that way they're not looking for you when it's time to depart to the Space Needle. But no, we certainly won't force you to go to the Space Needle. Koral, I'll let you answer that because I know you deal with this, on the tours, and perhaps you can, set them aside on that. And
yeah, the first thing that makes me think of is I'm just thinking, it's possible, obviously, you can have people who are afraid of heights too, that going up the Space Needle might not be everyone's cup of tea, so to speak, but we're flexible. We can always, make arrangements if you choose to skip that part. We just, establish a meeting spot if we need to, where we meet you again after that portion of the day, and that's always possible to make it work out for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Denise has asked, how many guests would be on the bus? That's always a good question, Denise, and it's always a guess. I would say anywhere from 35 to around 50 passengers. 50 passengers is our absolute maximum on our tours. So again, it depends on how many people choose to travel to the Pacific Northwest with us. We're hoping that we can get as many as possible. We always travel with about a 56 passenger coach. So there's always some, extra space on the coach too. So Koral, maybe I can let you address this question too. You're more familiar with on the coach.
Yeah. I certainly have done some motor coach tours where we've had 50 people on board, and even then there's still a little bit of extra space, like Cindy was saying about 56 passenger coaches, always room for shopping and and maneuvering on the coach. So it's nice. It really is. The motor coach tours, as I was saying, it's really a time I find where people bond a lot, and the motor coach tours are lovely, but yeah, I assure you, we're pretty good at finding room for everything on a coach. So if you're shopping and the carry-on bags, we make room for everything for sure. We do.
Yeah. Okay, so we do have another one comment here. Just asking again, you didn't say you have to go, said get to go. Now I'm assuming you're referring again to visiting the Space Needle. Maybe we weren't quite clear on that, and I do apologize if we weren't. You definitely do not have to go to visit the Space Needle. If you choose not to go, that's just fine. We can certainly make the necessary arrangements. You just have to work it out with your tour director. Again, we wouldn't force you to go. You have the option. Yes. Glenn has asked a question here. How much walking is involved? That's always a good question. It varies from tour to tour, and it will vary from day to day. I don't think it's an overly energetic tour. There, I don't believe is a ton of walking involved. Again, it will depend on, like Koral did mention, there is that, a half a mile walk that you could choose to do in the one area. For the most part, it's not going to be a ton of walking involved. Koral, anything else that you could perhaps add? Again, if it's something you choose not to do, those can be worked out with your tour director as well.
Yeah, no, I would just add, Cindy, for the most part, with most of our tours, when there are places that you can walk, it's not a place where you have to. I certainly have seen, exceptions to that, most definitely, where there was a place that we basically had to walk to get somewhere. But often that's not the case. And I don't think it should be on this tour as well, too, where, it should be the kind of tour where if you want to, like, for example, that half-mile scenic loop, that's definitely something that will be, fantastic for some people, definitely not for everybody. So you can just sit and rest and just enjoy the scenery while we're doing that. Maybe Pike's Place Market, another good example, a place you can walk around a lot, or maybe just sit and have a coffee and just take in the culture and the fishmongers and and just sit and enjoy as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have another question here from Lynn. What type of clothes do we need to take? Good question, Lynn. The Pacific Northwest is typically known for some rain, and the rainy season generally runs, I believe, from October to early June. So we're traveling, towards the end of June. The weather will be comfortable. Actually, I believe Oregon in June only has an average of 5 days of rain in the month of June. But obviously, it's going to be comfortable temperatures, probably, I would say mid 70s, 74-ish. It's never going to be really typically extremely warm. So you'll take layers, generally, a sweater, a light sweater, good walking shoes, and very casual clothes. It's very casual atmosphere, very casual cities. There's no place that you would need to, bring along your finer clothing for sure. So I hope that's answered, Lynn. And Coral, maybe do you have anything else? Comfortable shoes would be the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to recommend to people, bring your sports sandals, bring your Skechers, if you like Skechers, that kind of thing is always good to have too. And to be honest, no matter where we're going, no matter what time of the year, I still, when I make my phone calls to talk to, to our passengers for any upcoming tour, I still always suggest to bring that jacket rather, that's water repellent and rain repellent as well. So it doesn't take up much space, and you never know, just in case you need it. Always good to have that along.
Absolutely. Valinda has asked a question here. She's asking, how many days and are there any meals included? And yeah, if we happen to jump past that highlights quickly, it's easy to miss that. It is a total of 13 days from Saskatchewan. And meals included, we have 1 lunch and 2 dinners are included on this particular tour. And Denise is asking, we find the date and cost on the website. By all means, Denise, yes, you can find all the information for this tour on our website. The tour dates are June 19th to July 1st of 2022. And tomorrow you should be receiving an email that will have a link to all of the information for this tour. It'll have our day-to-day itinerary. It'll go through the highlights of this tour. It will list the inclusions, the dates, the pricing, all of that will be made available as well in an email link to you probably later in the day tomorrow. Now, Anonymous has asked, is there any breakfasts included? On this particular tour, it doesn't necessarily say breakfast included. Though I would say at this point, if one of the hotels en route does have an included breakfast, it may be included, but it doesn't appear that we have any breakfasts included on this particular tour. Again, all of those details will be in that link that will come out to you tomorrow. And if you do have more questions after you've received the link, by all means, just send us a quick email to information@westworldtours.com. And I am just going to move to our next slide, and that should give you all of the necessary information that you'll need as how you can reach out to us. You can, again, visit us online at WestWorldTours.com. You can send us an email at information@westworldtours.com. You can follow us on Facebook or you can contact your local travel agent. They are able to assist you with any questions you might have as well. So if we have no more questions at this current time, I'm just checking. I do not see any more questions at this time. So I just really want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. I hope everybody's having an enjoyable evening inside. I know where I'm sitting right now, we're in the middle of a first winter blizzard. So I'm hunkered indoors trying to stay warm and cozy. And Koral, again, thank you so much for joining us again this evening. We really appreciate you being here. And I know that not only our potential customers that would like to travel with us, but the passengers that have traveled with us enjoy seeing your familiar face as well.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Surprisingly, we're having a very mild evening up here at my home in northern Manitoba in Churchill. It's actually not blizzarding here tonight, but yeah, it's really a pleasure to be here, everyone. It's actually really fun to be sharing a brand new tour with you. Again, as I said earlier, for those of you whom I know from previous tours, and for those of you who haven't traveled with us before, we would really love to share this brand new Pacific Northwest tour with you. So yeah, it looks like an exciting and really awesome new destination for us. So it was really a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. And thank you so much, Cindy.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, we will see you next week on WestWorld Tours in Review presentation, which will be a lot of fun and informative as well. So hopefully everybody that was here this evening will be able to join us again next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and hopefully we will meet up with you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.